Have you ever paid attention to the language signals emitted by women that don't require a single word? Find out what body language signals a woman can send when she likes you. In this video, we'll show you the scientifically proven body language signs that, when you see them, almost always mean a woman is interested in you or starting to become interested. That's because we don't want you to flirt with a woman who isn't interested. We'll also reveal the clearest body language sign that a girl has absolutely no feelings for you. Let's go. Mirroring or reflection. Imagine you're sitting across from her in a cafe and you casually raise your hand to brush her hair back, and she unconsciously follows your lead, adjusting her hair as well. One of the most powerful nonverbal signals that indicate a woman's interest is mirroring. What makes mirroring so attractive is that most of the time it's a completely involuntary sign of sincere interest that she simply can't control. Subconsciously, people mirror each other as a way to express familiarity and build trust. When you notice her subtly copying your body language or movements, it's an early sign that she's comfortable with you and wants to foster a sense of connection. This phenomenon of mirroring is deeply rooted in psychology and, from a psychological perspective, this behavior is linked to the fundamental human desire for reciprocity. By mirroring, she indicates her desire to reciprocate the connection and establish a good relationship. This not only demonstrates interest, but also reflects a subconscious effort to create a shared relationship and mutual experience, fostering a stronger bond between you and her. So as you decode the subtle language of mirroring, remember that it goes beyond mere imitation. It's a psychological dance that speaks a lot about comfort, trust, empathy, and the desire for true connection. Playing with hair. Another nonverbal sign that reveals a woman's interest is playing with her hair. It becomes a manifestation of nervous energy combined with the desire to appear more attractive. Psychologically, it is linked to the idea of self-care as a response to increased self-awareness in the presence of someone intriguing. Hair twirling is a behavior self-calming which often occurs unconsciously when emotions are stirred. Imagine a scenario where you share a moment of laughter or a meaningful conversation. If she starts twirling a strand of hair, it's not just a playful gesture, it is a subconscious attempt to draw attention to yourself, accentuating your femininity. From a psychological perspective, playing with your hair can be a way of caring for a behavior that aims to improve physical appearance. When a woman is attracted to someone, she may become more conscious of her appearance, and hair becomes an accessible and instinctive focal point for this type of attention. Clear and voluntary eye contact. Another compelling nonverbal signal that says a lot about a woman's interest is clear, intentional eye contact. When her gaze roots yours with intentionality and clarity that transcends the realm of casual glances and becomes a silent but powerful form of communication. Intentional eye contact is deeply rooted in the psychology of human connection, is a nonverbal language that conveys trust, attentiveness, and a sincere desire to establish a connection. When a woman maintains purposeful gaze, this contact is a sign of commitment and psychological focus. It indicates that she is present in the moment and actively involved in the interaction. Now, imagine a situation where she is involved in a group conversation and, in the midst of the conversation, her eyes consistently meet yours. It's not a fleeting glance, but a deliberate act of seeking connection in a crowded space. This intentional eye contact communicates that, in that moment, you are the focal point of her attention. Entering your personal space. An undeniable sign of a woman's interest is when she deliberately enters your personal space. This nonverbal gesture speaks volumes, as it goes beyond mere physical proximity. It's an indication that she's actively seeking a connection with you. The concept of personal space is universal. It's the invisible bubble we all carry around, defining our comfort zone in social interactions. When someone voluntarily enters this space, it signifies a level of comfort and interest that transcends simple friendship. Imagine that you are at a party in a spacious room, and she starts approaching you from across the room. The main detail is where it stops. If she's within 5 feet of you, she's officially entered your personal space. This suggests that she is not randomly browsing the room, she is intentionally approaching you, probably with the desire to start a conversation. Now, consider the distance of half a meter. At this point, she is invading what is known as the intimate zone. This is crucial territory that denotes a higher level of proximity. If she falls within this range, it's a strong indicator that you've successfully captured her interest. In this zone, conversations become more personal, and the dynamic shifts to a more intimate connection. Invasion of personal space is a powerful form of nonverbal communication, drawing attention to physical proximity. Show lips. Another sign is when a woman makes you pay attention to her lips. After talking to you for a while, if she steps up her flirting tactics by highlighting her lips, gently stroking them with her fingers, or applying a fresh coat of lipstick, it's a sure sign she wants you to notice them. The emphasis on the lips is a flirting tactic that goes beyond mere nonverbal expression. If a woman chooses to highlight her lips, whether by gently touching them or highlighting with lipstick, she is sending a very specific nonverbal message. Lips, as a suggestive area of the body, can be a powerful tool for attracting attention and expressing interest. If you notice that after a prolonged conversation, she directs her attention to her lips, she is probably seeking a more intimate connection. This gesture suggests a desire for you to know this in advance. Her face expresses, which can have flirtatious connotations and imply romantic or even physical interest. Foot direction. This sign may sound a little strange. It's when a woman directs her feet toward you, even if they're close, laughing, and it looks like she's totally involved. The secret may be in the direction of your feet, as they can reveal your true desires. Attention and facial body language can often be deceptive, but they tend to reveal more about our unconscious intentions and desires. If a woman is standing next to you, seemingly committed to the conversation, but her feet point in another direction, it could be a sign that her mind is elsewhere. If her feet are directly facing you, she is probably truly interested and involved in the moment. Dilated pupils and sidelong glances. That's when her pupils dilate, and she gives you a sideways glance, sideways not looking. If you tend to maintain poor eye contact, as many guys do, you could be missing half of the nonverbal cues women give off. Signs like dilated pupils are a quick sideways glance, both subtle but telling. They indicate that everything you are doing is working perfectly. Pupils are the windows to the soul and can offer direct insight into a person's life. Pupil dilation in response to the emotional world is an automatic response of the autonomic nervous system and is often related to emotion and interest. If a woman's pupils dilate in your presence, it's a strong indicator that something in the interaction is triggering arousal or attraction. The sidelong glance, on the other hand, is a more subtle but equally revealing gesture. If she gives you a sideways glance, she may be discreetly assessing the situation or expressing a form of flirtation. It's a quick movement, but its meaning is powerful. Show the neck. This is an especially telling sign of interest. When a woman shows you her neck, in these flirtatious moments, instinct takes over. One of the clearest signs that a woman is interested in you is when she gives you a gift and entrusts you with one of the most vulnerable parts of her body. The neck is an especially vulnerable and sensitive area, and exposing the neck can be interpreted as an act of trust and emotional openness. In the animal kingdom, showing their neck is a sign that they feel safe and confident in the presence of other people. In the human context, this gesture takes on a similar meaning. When a woman emphasizes her neck by throwing her hair to the side or tilting her head, she is sending a message of vulnerability and confidence. She is indicating that she feels comfortable and safe around you, which is a strong indicator of deeper interest. Physical contact. One of the most telling signs that you've taken it to the next level with a woman is when she steps up the physical contact with intention. This gesture can manifest itself in many ways, from placing her hand in yours to touching her leg against yours or even hugging your arm if she feels cold. How she does this depends on her personal style, but essentially she's communicating that you no longer have to put in much effort to capture her attention. Intentional physical contact is a clear expression of attraction and emotional comfort. When a woman chooses to touch with intention, she is breaking down physical barriers and communicating a deeper level of connection. This gesture could be an indicator that she feels close enough to allow for greater intimacy. Whether she puts her hand on yours, brushes your leg with hers, or hugs you for warmth, or leans on your shoulder, each of these acts has its own silent language. She's sharing her physical space with you in a way that goes beyond casual friendship. Now, the sign you never want to see. To realize that she definitely doesn't want anything to do with you is a nonverbal sign that should always be an immediate red flag: crossed arms. When a woman crosses her arms in front of you, she could be saying a lot of things, none of which are good for you. Not only does crossed arms signify a general disinterest in you or what you're saying, but in some cases it can even be a way of protecting herself, for no other reason than to simply make her uncomfortable. In fact, the best case scenario if you see her crossing her arms is that she is cold. So here's the bottom line: if you see her crossing her arms, you may have already passed the point of no return, and you might want to turn the page. If you've made it this far, comment below with the word 100% to confirm that you received the knowledge from this video. For more interesting topics, subscribe to the channel. Let's continue. If a woman does not value a man, but he cannot or does not want to change anything, the development of greater communication between them can be predicted with absolute certainty. Its importance in the eyes of women will only decrease in the future, but how can it change the state of affairs and increase its importance? To do this, you need to follow 5 steps, which I will talk about in today's video. The first step that needs to be taken is to understand why women do not value men. It seems very abstract and difficult, but now I will explain everything. There are only 2 reasons why a woman doesn't value a man. The first reason is that the value of man is low in itself. For example, if he doesn't take care of himself, dresses poorly or earns little, it is useless to expect that, with some magical manipulation, he will become women's favorite. You have to be honest with yourself and say, "I've let myself get carried away, it's time to change." However, it is important to note that if everything is going well in a man's life and he feels satisfied, there is no need to change for the sake of a woman. In this case, she is not the right person because she does not accept him as he is. For example, if a man is interested in a woman who likes men with expensive cars, he doesn't need to take out a loan and buy a car to impress her. Because, in this case, he will not be himself, he will be playing a role that is not his. He may even temporarily impress the woman, but if he is successful, he will have to maintain that image, which is physically impossible. Therefore, she will end up leaving anyway. The second reason a woman doesn't value a man is that his value is low to her. The most common situation I encounter in consultations is that of a man who is popular with the opposite sex and meets a woman with whom he starts a relationship. He stops communicating with his friends and lovers, puts the woman at the center of the world, changes for her, does what she wants, carries her bag, takes photos on request. Until the woman says, "Yes, I did good here." As a result, the man fills the balance of investment, and his importance to the woman decreases enormously. He continues to like other women, but for his girlfriend or wife, he is no longer attractive, because he has made every possible mistake when communicating with her. Therefore, it is necessary to restructure the format of communication with her, and below I will tell you exactly what needs to be done to achieve this. You are not being authentic and you are putting the woman's needs and desires above your own. Instead, you need to work on yourself and improve your self-esteem, skills, and confidence. When you are happy and feel fulfilled with yourself, you naturally become more attractive to women, and your importance increases. This way, instead of trying to please a woman, you will be offering something genuine and valuable. In addition, you need to learn to communicate clearly and effectively, establishing healthy limits and expressing your needs and desires respectfully. If you follow these steps, you can change your situation and increase your importance in the eyes of the women you want to conquer. How to get her attention? You will not get any results. After all, she is the focus of attention. Some men try to fulfill a woman's every desire, others try to avoid arguments with her and smooth out the rough edges. When all this doesn't work, the man goes crazy, makes a fuss and tells the woman to ignore him. But again, the goal of all these actions is to attract the woman's attention, which doesn't work. You need to change your way of thinking and shift the focus of your attention to you. Stop trying to please her. Let's imagine a situation. You are trying to woo a woman, but you can't even get into bed with her. One day she asks you to help her with something to get her somewhere in the morning on a day off, and you've been working hard all week and want to sleep. But you're afraid to turn her down because you think she'll be offended. You think that by refusing her you will be showing that you are indifferent, and then the woman will never be with you. But in your desire to be a comfortable man, you forget your desires. So focus on them and refuse the woman, and she can always order a taxi. Still have doubts? Ask yourself, would she go somewhere early in the morning for you? Because it is so important to be able to refuse a person when your interests are being harmed. Until you value yourself, others won't. Yes, people may praise him for being a helpful guy who is always willing to help, but you realize that this is the behavior of a comfortable guy whose services can be used for free in difficult life situations without asking for anything in return. If you've made it this far, comment below with the word 100% to confirm that you received the knowledge from this video. For more interesting topics, subscribe to the channel. Let's continue. To stop trying to please a woman, I recommend that you do a simple exercise. When you're talking to her, do what you were afraid to do before. For example, if a woman asks you to do something for her, tell her you are busy and can't help. Or if before you always chose places for your dates that appealed to women to impress them, now choose a place that you yourself have wanted to visit for a long time. If earlier, during quarrels, you were always the first to reconcile, now, in a situation where, in your opinion, you are not to blame, try to do nothing and watch how she behaves. And this is important, after all. In such a situation you will feel your strength and eliminate the subconscious fear of looking like an uncomfortable man. What's the difference between a strong man and a comfortable one? The comfortable does everything to avoid confrontation. A strong man does not allow himself to be disrespected or used. A strong man does not mock anyone, is not rude, and most importantly, does not attack women. He simply knows his own worth and doesn't try to please anyone. He is not afraid to make difficult decisions, and this is one of the qualities of a leader that women love and appreciate. But often men who ask for my help have one question: what if I do this and she leaves me or stops communicating with me? If you leave everything as it is, your importance will only decrease, and the woman will definitely stop communicating with you after a while. If you start listening to her desires and not just trying to please her, she will perceive you as a person, not as a personal caretaker. And in general, always ask yourself the question, is the game worth the game? Because men often try to establish communication with a woman who is completely unsuitable for a relationship, and all efforts to somehow increase her importance are meaningless. The third step many men take, but mistakenly, is the development of attraction. If you continue communicating with a woman, it will be easier for you to understand your value to her. When you become unique to her, and as most men act in a situation like this, they try to please the woman, satisfy all her desires and thus increase their importance in her eyes. Naturally, a woman does not appreciate all this, as she receives it for free. Attract in a completely different way. When you involve a woman in your world, let's say I have a client who was in a woman's friend zone for 6 months and couldn't bring himself to increase his importance. What did I recommend you do? A long time ago, the man wanted to start dancing, but he didn't dare. On my recommendation, he signed up for a trial class. He liked it and started attending regularly, becoming part of the team. Then he took his wife there, and for them it became a common interest. It turns out that they were attracted by the presence of a shared interest. With the help of a competent accumulation of emotions, the man achieved the desired result. The fourth step, which I will talk about a little later, the man achieved the desired result and made the woman fall in love with him. How else can attraction develop in a woman? I have had stories where a man, the owner of a company, got a woman to work for him. He paid her a regular salary, but she became dependent on him as her boss. I even had a story where a man studied with a girl in the same group and barely communicated. He didn't know how to approach her, and what did we do? As she wasn't doing very well in her studies, I suggested she do something simple, offer to help the girl with her studies. And to somehow compensate for the investment and the fact that he wasn't in the role of protector, the girl helped him with several simple tasks, such as filling out end-of-course documents, answering questionnaires, etc. Due to this, the girl felt attraction, and the man's importance grew. It turns out that in a situation where there are problems of little importance, it is possible to captivate a woman with a common cause. At the same time, it is desirable that in this common cause you take a strong position and act as a leader. But it's important not to forget the fourth step: make your investments smaller and women's investments larger. Here this is linked. If you used to text every day saying, "Good morning, sweetheart," and call several times a day, stop doing so. If you used to spend all your time with a woman, set aside a few days a week to take care of your business. If you used to try to fulfill all of a woman's desires, as long as she was happy and didn't demand anything in return, stop doing that too. This doesn't mean you need to stop investing in a woman. All you need to do is not only give, but also receive something in return. Therefore, if you have helped a woman in some way, ask for help in return. Let's say you helped her fix her car, took her shopping with you, and helped her pick out a wardrobe. If he gave her an elegant birthday present and when before her birthday he asked her what could give you, he replied modestly, "I don't need anything, I have everything." Now say specifically what she can give you: a shaver, perfume, whatever. The most important thing is that the woman also invests in you, and not just you in her. After all, as we know, the more we invest in a person, the more we value them. That's why it's so important that the woman also invests in you. There are some other ways to increase the balance of importance. I talked about them in a video titled "How to Get a Woman to Follow Your Rules." I'll leave a link to the video in the description, and it will now appear on the screen in a tooltip in the top right corner. If you've made it this far, comment below with the word 100% to confirm that you received the knowledge from this video. For more interesting topics, subscribe to the channel. Let's continue. And, finally, the fifth, after completing everything mentioned above, evaluate the effectiveness of your work in the business context. This is called profitability assessment. If there are serious positive changes, great. If you start to have success, but something is missing, look again which of the 4 steps you are not improving. And if the results are 0, then ask yourself the question, is it worth continuing? Are you prepared to be around someone who doesn't like you like that? I remind you that only if you think soberly and make decisions with a cool head can you achieve the desired result. As always, I believe in you. I would appreciate it if you supported the video with a like, shared it with your friends, wrote a few words in the comments about the launch theme. And don't forget to check your subscription and make sure all notifications are turned on. See you soon.